It's about culture now. Take our culture and throw it on out there.
Straight ahead of the RebZone, the birth of a new season and a team determined to do something special. UNLV hits the ground running, literally, against Southern Utah. Head coach Tony Sanchez is in studio to break it all down. Plus, we preview a crucial Week 2 matchup against Arkansas State. And quarterback Armani Rogers talks about his growth and what he's looking forward to most this season. The RebZone is focused on one game at a time.
That's all that matters.
Because the goal is to go bowling this year.
This is the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
Welcome inside the RebZone. Kevin Bollinger alongside UNLV head football coach Tony Sanchez, coming off a season-opening victory over Southern Utah. That is the way to get things going.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, all the hard work in the offseason, all the way through camp, and then to have the guys, walk out last night with a W is a big deal.
Let's start breaking this one down. We're going to begin with the first half, where once the Rebels got rolling, they really got rolling.
It's about culture now. Take our culture and throw it on out there. You understand that? For 40 quarters. I don't care what's going on. It's about the next snap. It's about executing the next play. And we are focused on that. No!
Opening night of the final season at Sam Boyd Stadium, and the tone was set early by the defense, specifically Evan Austrie with the big hit. Then Austrie again with the sack to force a punt, but on that punt, Southern Utah has the bad snap, and the pressure. UNLV was in business, taking over at the Thunderbirds 39. On third down, Armani Rogers drops back, but he sees a huge hole and he runs for the first. Then from the 22, the inside handoff to Charles Williams, and he bursts through the line and goes untouched into the end zone for the first Rebel touchdown of the season. It was 7-0. Williams was nowhere near done. The 25-yard run set up UNLV once again. And once again, it was Williams who finishes off the drive, right up the middle from 8 yards out to make it 14-0 early in the second quarter. Southern Utah would counter on its next possession. Quarterback Chris Helbig keeps it himself and lowers his shoulder to score to cut the Rebel lead to 14-7. They would get no closer. UNLV countered with 11-play, 75-yard drive, capped by Rogers, banging it in from a yard out for another touchdown. That extended the lead to 21-7. After the defense forced a 3-and-out, the O was back in business again at the Southern Utah 44. It took 4 plays to find Pater. Rogers to Mekhi Stevenson, who makes a move, and he's gone. 18 yards for the score, and things were going well at 28-7. The D would come up with another 3-and-out, and UNLV got the ball back with just over 2 minutes left in the half. Rogers deep downfield, and watch Steven Jenkins just go up and rip this ball away from the defender. 49 yards on the reception to the 5-yard line. Next play, Williams darts in for the score. The Rebels score touchdowns on their final 5 possessions of the half, and they head into the locker room with a 35-7 lead.
All right, so maybe fans weren't as familiar with Charles Williams because Lexington Thomas got a lot of the spotlight the last couple of years, but he's been around this program. He's a very good back. You've been singing his praises for a long time, and I think people got a good look at what he's capable of doing.
Yeah, he's going to have a great year. He's got such a great work ethic. He's a great teammate, and you go back to his freshman year, and he broke the school record for rushing yards as a freshman, had the starting job going into a sophomore year, and ended up breaking his foot, and then Lexington took it back over and never got back up off the field. So it's great having Charles healthy in there and watching him run.
After the first couple of offensive series, things really started to click and was an efficient offense there for the rest of the half.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing about having a good, solid run game is you can always, default to it. You can go right back, just lean on it and go ahead and find your win, and that's what we did. I mean, I thought it was a really clean half with the exception of one drive on defense. We had a breakdown in coverage, and then offensively, obviously the first 2 series weren't too sharp, but after that, it was a really good half on both sides of the ball.
The defense really set the tone in this game. We saw the big hits right out of the gate. And, that was the question mark, at least in a lot of fans' minds. They wanted to see it on a game situation. Was it the same for you guys? You can see things in practice, but do you need to see them in the game?
You do. We harped about a bunch of different things. Number one, especially defensively, just tackling, and we had a couple missed tackles, but not too many. I mean, you watch some games and there's a ton of missed tackles. Our guys did a really good job of wrapping up, using roll tackles, different techniques. So I thought that was really good. And then for the most part, it was penalty free.
Yeah, I think that was important too. Usually a first game, you have a lot of penalties, a lot of mental mistakes. We did not see anything from that from UNLV last night.
No doubt. I mean, we had one aggressive penalty where, we had a sack, we grabbed the back of the guy's helmet. Those things are going to happen, but we weren't jumping off sides, we weren't lining up wrong, we didn't have too many guys on the field, things like that, the process stuff. So it's really good to see that. But that's, it's an indicator of an older, more mature football team.
And, we've gone to the mock scrimmages and those things, that the dress rehearsals that were so important in terms of getting personnel on and off the field.
Yeah.
Sometimes those show up in the first game. I think that all pays off because we didn't see any of those problems last night either.
No doubt about it. I mean, things like the mock game, sometimes if you're a fan watching, you're like, what are we doing? This is kind of weird, But what you're doing is you're simulating all these chaotic things that are going to occur on a Saturday night or Saturday afternoon. And again, it helps with those processes. So when you saw it last night, it's one of the reasons things were so clean.
Well, let's go to the second half now, where the Rebels picked right up where they left off, and then they got a chance for a lot of players to get some snaps. UNLV had the ball to start the second half, and it didn't take long to get back in the end zone. From their own 34, Rogers keeps it himself, and QB1 gets free down the right sideline, showing some speed and some power as he gallops into the end zone for a 66-yard touchdown run to push the lead to 42-7. On the Rebels' next possession, the sweltering heat caused Rogers to get a cramp during the drive and enter Kenyon Oblad, the redshirt freshman from Liberty High School, who put together a drive including this throw to Darren Woods Jr. Then the handoff to Courtney Reese, who lowers the boom into the end zone. It was 49-7. The offense got the ball back. Oblad to Noah Bean for 14 yards. Darren Williams gets in on the rushing action with 13 on the ground. That would move the Rebels into the red zone. And Williams caps the drive with a 4-yard scoring run. That's 8 straight possessions with a touchdown for UNLV. And they headed into the fourth quarter up 56-7. With a lot of reserves in during the fourth quarter, things got a little sloppy, but overall a stellar night on both sides of the ball. UNLV puts up 534 yards in total offense, including 331 on the ground. They tie a school record with 7 rushing touchdowns. The offensive line does not give up a sack, while the defense recorded 4. Most importantly, the Rebels get only their second season opening win in the last 10 years, and they do it in dominating fashion as they cruise past Southern Utah 56-23, and they queued up the fight song for the first time this season.
The offense did well today, and the defense, they were outstanding. They were turning the ball over, giving us opportunities to keep getting the ball back, making their offense punt consistently, and we had to just capitalize on when the defense gave us the ball back.
I call this season my redemption season because through all last year, I didn't do as well as I wanted to, but as a team, I want to help them and they want to help me, so we just going to work together, and whatever happens, happens, and I'm not looking forward to the stats or anything. I'm just looking forward to the W's.
It was fabulous being back out there on the football field. We've been training for quite some time right now, and then finally get to put some pads on to go against a different defense. It's big time.
So UNLV scored on 8 straight possessions going from the first to the second half. We've talked a lot over the years about finishing drives, not settling for field goals or coming up empty-handed in the red zone. This is a team that finished a lot of drives last night.
Yeah, no, it did a really good job again. Once we kind of found ourselves and settled in, we did a really good job of closing out that first half. And then we did a great job of coming back out of the locker room second half and and being really sharp again and clean and going down and putting some quick touchdowns on. So that was good. I mean, I was really pleased with it. I mean, I think right at that 6-minute mark left when it's sitting there 56-7, you've played a bunch of people. You're playing your 2s, you're playing your 3s. I mean, we rotated a ton of guys in last night, and then I was really pleased actually with the 2-0 line. That's probably the best 2-0 line we've had. We got a little stale when we added some of the 3s in, so we got to work on that a little bit. But even in the defense, I mean, the rotations we used, the amount of guys that played early and often was big, a lot different for us.
Yeah, when you get time to get 2s and 3s, a lot of snaps, the benefit's going to come later in the season from a depth issue when you get those situations where you maybe have a nagging injury and somebody's going to have to step up and play.
No doubt. And, especially your quarterback, getting Kenyon Oblad in there. So he's got some live snaps. He's been hit. He's made some good completions. Just, the whole thing of, running the huddle and the communication part. So just getting him in there was a big, big deal.
When there was sloppy in the fourth quarter with the 3s in there with the reserves. But I think, and you talked about it a little bit after the game last night, teachable moments there. That you have stuff on tape that's going to benefit the 1s and the 2s as well.
No doubt about it. I mean, at the very end, we have that safety where, we tell a young man, it's not his fault. I mean, it's always on the coaches. But, we tell him, hey, take a fair catch because we don't want to worry about a return. And instead of fair catch, he catches on the 1 and takes a step back in the end zone and down. It's a safety. It's just a process deal. So thank God it wasn't at a critical moment. So but those are things that we'll be able to show on film and teach off of for years.
And I think one thing, just watching the mentality of this team, they almost were with hey, next up.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you say enjoy this one tonight and go to the next one. It's almost like they had processed in their head. They were already thinking that they're going to the next week here.
Yeah, oftentimes we don't bring up the next opponent, in the locker room after a game, but this is one that we've been thinking about for a long time. Obviously, we had to get prepared for Southern Utah, but that Arkansas State game really kind of sticks in our craw a little bit. I mean, that was a tough one last year on the road. We had twice inside the 20-yard line. We turned the ball over going in to score. We fumbled a punt inside our own 5-yard line. Shouldn't even be catching one down there. And they ended up, scoring. I mean, that's a 21 or at least a 14-point swing in a game that we ended up losing by 7 on the road. So we're excited about it. They're a good team coming off a loss right now. I believe they lost 37-30. Got a lot of film to watch on them later on today. Obviously, we've seen stuff in the past, but breaking in a new quarterback. But they're a team that's, used to winning a lot of games and competing for championships and playing in bowl games. So it's going to be a hell of a game Saturday night.
Well, we got some game film on them, and we're going to talk about them in just a second here as we get started in the Red Zone. A look at Arkansas State. That's a big Week 2 showdown. We're going to talk a little bit about what they did last night. We're going to come back with that on the backside of the break. Stay with us.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
We've already started the conversation on Arkansas State, but let's go a little bit deeper into them. They did play SMU last night. They threw the ball a ton, 50 passes for their quarterback. They're going to chuck it, even with a new quarterback than the one that Rebel fans saw last year.
Yeah, and I was just kind of looking at the stat boxes. A lot of distribution, too. I believe they had a guy with 12 catches, another guy with 10, another guy with 8. A couple other guys caught the ball. So they're spreading it out, too. So, I know they're a talented, team and, new coordinators in there. But, just watching some of these highlights and the little bit of film that I've seen so far from last night's game, it's going to be a tough matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be a game, judging by what we saw with SMU, where there's going to be some points scored in this game by both squads. Both have high-powered offenses and a lot of speed that's going to be on display.
No doubt about it. Obviously offensively, we got to be able to continue to run the football, but I think we got to open up that passing game. Is going to open up a little bit more, and we have to be able to do that early so we can go ahead and make them really defend the field horizontally and vertically. And then defense, one of the things we did last night is we disrupted the passer a bunch. We're going to have to do that again. Our secondary is really going to get challenged this week. We're confident in them. They had a good night last night. It's going to be a different level of a challenge. Better athletes are going against, but we have to continue to create a pass rush.
Fast starts obviously are important every week, but when you have a home game and a team that's traveled across the country, you want to make sure you get out to that fast start and not playing catch up, because it seemed like that's obviously a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, you always want to stay ahead of it. But the biggest thing is just staying in the pocket. I mean, you watch college football this weekend, and so, if you just stay focused, you have a chance to always come back no matter what situation. You look at the Boise game, look at the Reno game, you look at some of those games. If you can just settle down a little bit, run the football, you can get yourself back in the game. So we don't want to have to worry about that. We would love to be ahead of it. Again, them traveling, they're coming off a tough loss. If we can get on those guys, put a little pressure on them, I think that bodes well.
Well, a lot of success this season will hinge on quarterback Armani Rogers staying healthy. Straight ahead in the Reb Zone, I sit down to go one-on-one with QB1 to talk about not putting himself in bad positions and what his goals are for the season. It's coming up next in the Reb Zone.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by RC Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
Armani Rogers became the first UNLV quarterback to start 3 straight season openers since Jason Thomas, who did it back in 2000 to 2003. Now the focus is on staying healthy and playing in every game, but that's just one of the goals for QB1 this year.
Armani Rogers has established himself as one of the best run-pass option quarterbacks in college football. In his short Rebel career, he's thrown for more than 2,000 yards and rushed for more than 1,300, with nearly identical touchdown numbers by air and by foot. The one big issue, staying healthy. Rogers hasn't made it through a college season without being injured, missing 8 games in total. That's a focus this season.
Just make smarter decisions, like not necessarily sacrificing my body when I don't have to. But if the play's on the line, if it's 3rd and short and we need this first down, I know to put my head, to go get the first down. But if it's 2nd and 6, I don't have to go put my head and go get the first down because we still have another down to go get it. Run out of bounds or slide now.
This year, he's behind a veteran offensive line, something Rogers doesn't take for granted.
It's lovely when your lineman makes your job easier for you. They can help you pick up blitzes when you don't see it. They're checking everything down there, making my job a whole lot easier. And then when you have that, you just feel way more protected and safe back there.
Rogers also has a new offensive coordinator this season, with Garen Justice taking over the play calling. He says that even though the transition was late, things have gone smooth.
And everybody's been connecting. The chemistry's been there since he started putting the new plays in. We've all bought into the new system, and we've just been executing on it.
Most offensive coordinators are up in the booth during games, but Justice will be on the sidelines, something Rogers sees as an advantage.
Most definitely, because you can talk back and forth, and you can get input right then and there, and you can talk to him if you see something, and then he'll tell you if he likes what you're seeing or not.
Rogers knows it's his and the team's time to shine. This is a group that is focused on what's going on in their world, and QB1 is ready to take charge.
We try to just block all the outside noise out, and we focus on our team inside, and we know our ultimate goal, and we're going to go out there and compete. And every game we're going to go out there and give it our best. We're trying to get to game 13, and I feel like this team is going to do something special this year.
A special talent that can do a lot of things, but from a running standpoint, he's put up big numbers in his first 2 years that has him on pace for something special.
Yeah, I was telling you earlier that, after his first 2 seasons, he actually has more yards rushing than Lexington did at this time. So, he's on pace to have some amazing stats when it's all said and done. So, big thing he said is, keeping him healthy. You got to do that. That's the big thing. We can get through this season and have him under center each game, first snap. That's a big deal. I mean, it'll allow us to reach the goals that we have.
And we saw him taking care of his body more in the first game last night, sliding and getting down rather than maybe lowering his shoulder for an extra yard, get the first down and get down to the ground. Yeah,
it was great, man. That first time he took off running, and he saw him slide after getting the first down. That was big. And Coach Odell actually brought a slip and slide out to practice in the summertime and wet it down, and they worked on sliding. So that was pretty funny.
He's got some leadership qualities as well, not just on the field, but he has kind of a quiet mentality, leadership, a calming influence, it seems like, in that huddle.
He does. I mean, the guys gravitate towards him. You know, he's not a guy who's going to be overly vocal, but when he says stuff, guys are dialed in, listening to him, and they'll follow him, and they all believe in him. You know, and when we voted for captains, he was an overwhelming, choice by the whole team. And 2 years in a row, I mean, to become a captain, at such a young guy, a sophomore and a junior, that's a big, big deal.
We're going to take one final break right here, and then we'll have some closing thoughts from Coach Sanchez and the UNLV football plays of the week. But as we go to break, here's a look at how other Mountain West teams did over the weekend.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
Big one this Saturday night coming up at Sam Boyd Stadium with a 7 o'clock kickoff. I know it'd be nice to have another big crowd.
Yeah, it was a great crowd last night. I know our guys were excited about it, and this is a big game. We won't be home again until October when we play Boise, so we want to get everybody out there, cheering us on, and then we'll hit the road and be road warriors for a while and be back in October.
All right, Coach, good luck. We are going to hope to see you out at Sam Boyd Stadium. As we said, 7 o'clock kickoff. Get out there early and tailgate. We also hope to see you next week in the Red Zone. Thanks for joining us for this one. We leave you with the UNLV football plays of the week. Good night.
The RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.